Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a precious gift of God, which is why we call it the present. These wise words were spoken by American cartoonist Bill Keane, and how true is that? Something to reflect upon. Good morning, namaskar, salam alaikum. This is your host Shireen Saif, welcoming you to a brand and bright new episode of Malhaar Morning Raga. Saturdays are bright and beautiful, aren't they? Because today is the day at exactly this time that we connect with you. And I'm joined by my co-host, the founder and director of Malhaar, Jogiraj Sikidar.
Good morning.
Good morning. Salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam. How are you doing?
Excellent.
Sabah al-khair.
Sabah Noor.
Oh, fantastic.
We can keep carrying on like this, but our artists are giving me a little look. So I
Yeah.
need to introduce them.
Yes, let's
Shall we?
go.
Mallika Kilpady ji on Hindustani vocal, Arindam Chakravarty ji on Tabla, and Manjeet Singh ji on harmonium. In today's artist segment, we have someone very special. Dr. Sugata Marjit, who's the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Calcutta. And not just that, he's a distinguished economist in addition to being an Indian classical vocalist. We're going to chat to him about the importance of learning any kind of performing art that is steeped in the classical tradition during the formative years. But hold on, it's not time to go there just yet, because we listen to our local artists first. Mallika ji, wonderful to have you again and again and again. Please tell us about which presentation, which composition, which raga you're going to share with us today.
Good morning. I'll be attempting Rag Jaunpuri today. This rag belongs to the Thaat Asavari. It's sung in the morning between 9 and 12. It's a Shadav Sampurna rag. In the Aroha, you have 6 swars, and while coming back in the Avaroha, you have 7 swars. Dhaivat is the main swar in this. It's the Vadi swar. Gandhar is Samvadi. In the Aroha, we do not take Gandhar. So it's Ni sa re ma pa dha ni sa. And in the Avaroha, you have all the swars. Ga, Dha and Ni are Komal, and Rishabh is Shuddha. This rag is close to Asavari rag as well as Darbari. But Darbari is a more serious rag, and it's sung more in the Mandra Saptak and the Madhya Saptak. Jaunpuri is sung more in the higher octave.
Mallika ji, thank you so much for sharing Rag Jaunpuri, which is connected with Jaunpur from Uttar Pradesh. Dada, if I'm not mistaken, is this the first time that we're presenting Jaunpuri?
Yeah, this rag first time on the Malhaar Morning Raga. It's a beautiful rag, and she also mentioned that there are 2-3 rags are there which are very close to Jaunpuri. One is of course Asavari, and another is Rag Darbari. So Darbari is a very deep rag which goes middle in the night, whereas Jaunpur is a morning rag. It's a bit of a chanchal.
Okay,
kind of
so I'm feeling all chanchal. And shall we chanchal go to
Yeah, so
Kolkata?
let's go to Kolkata. Okay. Today I'm honored that we are joined by Dr. Sugata Marjit, an eminent economist, educationalist, and of course, Indian classical vocalist. Thank you so much, Dr. Marjit, for joining us all the way from Kolkata.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sikidar.
What are the intangible benefits of music in a long run, rather than just learning some composition or singing some composition?
Emotions that you can generate through music within yourself are so pure. And as you know more and more about our music, you will see that how different religious mixed in a way, they sustained each other in a way. The story of a Hindu disciple of a Muslim ustad or Muslim disciple of a Hindu ustad, Pandit, and you look at that, I always found that the best way to propagate secularism in India is through classical music. I tried to write about it also. There is no other way. You can't, because everything else would be like, kind of hearsay arguments.
You are an economist, also a musician. Is there a relation between music and economics? Your thoughts, please.
I see 100% correlation between music and performance and research. Let me put it that way. And I'm absolutely confident that what I'm saying is 100% right, because I have realized through my life. This is where I have used it, and I've realized it through the life. So I don't get any other opinion to pollute my concept. And it's very simple. The idea is, what is research? Research is imagination. Today, I want to write a new paper. Now, I write a new paper in economics in my subject, in my field. I know the basic results, which are very fundamental. That is, these results have been derived by very well-known economists and so on, and been proved and shown, demonstrated, and so on. But what I observe, that under these circumstances, these things do not hold. Now, why they don't hold? It is possible that they have already told us that there are situations, it's not natural science, so it will not hold. That's why economics is nearer to music than physics, because economics is dismal science. We call it science, it's not natural science. So it depends on assumptions. So we can improvise. You can't improvise law of gravitation, but you can improvise law of economics, because you can say, well, I know that if people have a lot of income, they are going to increase demand for a good, because they want to spend money and they want to increase demand. But there are many occasions where you see that as you have more and more income, certain types of goods actually don't see any change in their demand. But certain other types of goods who have fabulous increase in their demand. So this is not like justifying law of gravitation. The apple has left the tree and has come to the earth, and it will have the same kind of impact here or in Nicaragua. There is no problem. So the question is that if we have imagination is the core of my research, improvisation is core of my research, then you should always remember that Indian classical music is much nearer to jazz than to Western classical music, because we improvise. Our mind, our brain, that's why, the buzug people used to say that, "Are gana to dimag se hota hai." Amir Khan Sahib also told that actually gana thori gala se hota hai, awaz se hota hai, to dimag se hota hai. Because essentially your way of interpreting a rag, your way of, when you are singing, people have to like you by saying that you are different. That is the first thing. You sound different. You do things which are different. Whether it is better or worse than others, it's the second stage. I don't think consider the first, because nobody is better than anybody. Nobody is worse than anybody. Because I have something which no one on earth has it. You have something which no one on earth has it. We are born that way. So better or worse, I'm not going to that. But this imagination, when I improvise, I sing in a different way, let's say, of a rag. My yaman will sound different because I do different, not only different combinations, but I change the sequence, I do something. This is my research also. My research, I improvise, I imagine. So performance cannot be static. It is a continuous process of involvement. That's why we cannot reproduce what we sing from one concert to the other. Somebody says that, it's very peculiar because all the classical forms, you have the structured notations and so on, you are reproducing. But for us, we cannot reproduce ourselves. But I think that's a great
Actually,
thing for us. So research
indeed.
and performance, I think they are very close. And economics, I found economics to be very close because in economics, I have lots of ifs and buts. Ifs and buts are not always bad. True, as Churchill said that we need one-handed economists because every economist says on one hand this is going to happen, but on the other. So he said that please give me one-handed economists. But the question is that if you really want to talk about imagination and improvisation, it has to, your music has to be a mystery. Your music has to be about not about predictability. You know,
Very true.
people.
Very true.
So that is research also. Yes.
So, Dr. Marjit, you have taken Diksha from Ramakrishna Mission. You are in the path of spirituality as well. How do you connect music and spirituality? If you can tell us your some personal experiences, please.
I will be possibly uh, in the line of most insignificant persons who can reflect on that, because this has been talked about by so many spiritual stalwarts from so many beliefs, so many religions, so many sects and so on, that I can't tell you something which is very different. What one thing that I can tell you is that what I feel inside me, and I can give one example that and which would be an interesting, and again from the experience of my life. A few years ago, I was in UK, in England, uh, as usual, doing both economics and music, and I was performing at the Nehru Centre of Performing Arts in London. Before that, 3 days ago, I was giving a talk at University of Nottingham, where my one of my ex PhD students was a professor. And suddenly, at one night, I was rushed to the emergency of the Derbyshire hospital because they found I had kidney stone. And for 2 3 nights, I never had that kind of pain in my life. Even with strongest painkiller, I could sleep only for 2 to 3 hours. And after 3 days, the fourth day, I had my concert in Nehru Centre, and the fifth day, I was leaving UK. So when I came from Nottingham to UK to my friend's residence to London to my friend's residence, I was in pain, remarkable pain. The day I went to sing at the Nehru Centre, I prayed to Thakur Ramakrishna and God that come what may, I have to sing. Now, I don't care what happens, but I have to sing the way I sing. I won't cancel the concert. So what I did, I just said that, and my friend took me there. Lots of people came to listen to me. Some of them were known to me, and they were really very, very apprehensive about the matter, because in the green room they found that I was clad in kurta and pajama, and I was absolutely on the floor. I was just lying on the floor on the carpet because I cannot stand or sit, upright. So they were saying, "How are you going to sing?" I said, "No, I will sing." And I went up to the stage and I sang for 1.5 hours, and I had no memory of my pain. No memory, absolutely no memory of my pain. And my friends told me that, and I sing at D, and my voice is fairly open ended, so I sing with a full chest kind of strategy. So so they said that they never felt that I was weak in my voice in terms of that pain. The pain started right after my recital. It's kind of started me as if it was there. And the next day when I went to Heathrow, in fact, my stone came out because I was in the toilet and the stone came out and I felt relieved. But up to that, this thing was the same. very painful. I was on a painkiller and blah, blah, blah. What happened to that 1.5 hours? Then I realized, and now I practice it very consciously, that whenever I have pain or kind of discomfort, I start the Tanpura and start singing. And I find that there is a lot of peace and tranquility that helps me. And I really, I really advise people nowadays that try that. Be in music. You will find how you are going to get the benefit of it. So I think this is important.
Finally, Dr. Marjit, could you please play something from your archive, any of your performance, please?
चमन के भोली सोसन हजार गुल फेरूर गुलाल बुलबुल बोली पुकार नजर दौलत आई है जागी है बाहर खिले सब गुल चमन के सोसन हजार गुल फेरोर गुलाल बुलबुल बोली पुकार नजर दौलत जागी है बाहर ये नजर दौलत आई है बाहर नजर दौलत चमन के फूली लड़की सोसन ये नरगिस सोसन हजार गुल फेरूर गुलाल बुलबुल बोली पुकार नजर दौलत आई है जारी है
Thank you so much, Dr. Marjit, for joining us. It was truly an humbling experience, and there's so much to learn from you. Thank you once again, and we look forward to connecting with you in person sometime very soon. Thank you. Over to you, Shirin.
What an interesting conversation. I wasn't
Yes.
quite sure what, I was expecting a very serious conversation. It was serious, but also brought up some very sort of light-hearted things. And in particular, I was struck by something, and I want to talk to you about it. Essentially, about music education and about how it involves not just the child, but a larger ecosystem. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Especially in Dubai, what I experienced, we are working closely with few schools, and quite often we come across that the child is not learning, because a small child, when going home and saying da din din da da din, so parents are like, what is this? And then he's explaining the concept of tal, how the tal is everywhere in the world.
Wow.
He talks about sare gama, he talks about, or she talks about, like Bharatnatyam or Kathak, tukda maybe, or mudra, and etc. And they get interested. So when a child gets into something, the entire family learns. And that's my observation here. I mean, a lot of time, parent will come and say that, I don't know what is the difference between Bharatnatyam, Kathak or Odissi. I don't know where my child would be, fitted into, or how about you teach Bollywood song, not classical, and then when we explain and when they see the change in the child, they really love it. So it is extremely humbling experience.
Yeah, no, I really like this idea of how the child brings the art back home, and
Yes.
it's not always the parent who teaches something.
Yes.
I really like that idea, and I've often seen, like, I think
And
even in
parent-
Malhaar,
yeah, parent learn with
together, right?
Yeah, like,
In a class,
mom
you'll have-
and dad
I
are
know.
learning with the child, and we call it bond with your child with music. Or we have husband wife, they are learning together.
oh, that's
So
going to create a
spending
lot of
it-
conflict.
No. we teach them Shringar Ras.
And they'll start to be on tal and with sur.
Yeah, and balancing act in the real life with
I-
a tal. Come back to the sum all the time. You may
Amazing.
go in a different direction, but you meet at the sum.
Wah. I think this is something, you have an idea there. I think you should develop that further.
Yes.
So Dada, I think we should close with another
Yes.
composition from Mallika ji. What do you say?
Yes.
Mallika ji, we'd love you to close today's beautiful session. Could you share the raga and the composition that you will present for us?
छननन बिछुआ बाजे मोरी 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 माई छननन बिछुआ छननन बिछुआ बाजे मोरी माई जो तुम हम सनागम भैलवा छूम छननन बिछुआ बाजे मोरी छननन बिछुआ बाजे छननन बिछुआ बाजे छननन बिछुआ बाजे छननन बिछुआ बाजे छननन बिछुआ छननन बिछुआ छननन छननन बिछुआ छननन बिछुआ छूम छननन बिछुआ छननन बाजे मोरी छननन छूम छननन छननन बिछुआ बाजे मोरी बाजे चार दिना रे अगम भैलवा 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 मेरे तो जिया के सब दुख गैला मेरे तो जिया के सब दुख गैला छूम छननन बिछुआ बाजे मोरी छननन बिछुआ छननन बिछुआ छननन बिछुआ छननन बिछुआ निनि रव मव निनि रव मव नि 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 धनि नि नि धनि रव म परनि सा नि रव मव निनि रव मव छननन बिछुआ सारे रे सारे रे सारे रे सारे रे सारे नि नि सा 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 पर नि नि रव मव छननन बिछुआ बाजे मोरी छननन बिछुआ छननन बिछुआ बाजे छननन बिछुआ बाजे मोरी
वाह, मज़ा आ गया मल्लिका जी.
Totally maza aa gaya. I'm just catching my breath from that beautiful composition. And I hope you felt the same, viewers. You've been with us on this long, long journey for almost a year. And we hope you've been enjoying it. We have. And show some love by liking, sharing, subscribing. Till next week, we leave you with this beautiful experience of music. Until next time, namaskar.